former army chief claims national pride is in decline amid concerns over Australian Defense Force recruitment. Ex-Army Chief Peter Leahy has claimed Australians have lost interest in national pride in favor of supporting other flags as the ADF deals with recruitment crisis. Now, why would this be? Why is it that white people may not have pride in the nation anymore after being vilified and blamed for all the world's problems for so long? By the nation they're expected to have pride in. Why is it that minorities would lose pride in their nation when they're constantly being told the nation is systemically racist and keeps oppressing them? Why would any of these people have pride in their nation when they're getting their needs met more and better by other nations? Gee, I wonder what's going on. Former Chief of the Army Peter Leahy has vented his frustration over the Australian Defence Force recruitment struggles as he claims some Aussies have lost national pride and adopted a sense of entitlement. Is that how you see it? After vilifying one side and convincing the other side that they're perpetual victims of the exact same country you expect them to have pride in, now you're saying they're entitled? Really? Yeah, that's totally going to win them over to your side. That's going to lead to more recruits. Yeah, let's go ahead. Keep doing this. Professor Leahy voiced concerns over the lack of Australians signing up with the ADF in a story published by the Australian, as the Albanese government aims to grow the armed forces from about 60,000 personnel to 80,000 by current year plus 15. Wow. Some of you are laughing at these numbers, but like, you got to remember, as big as Australia is landmass wise, they got like a third the population of Germany. This is why I always find it funny, like when especially like Japanese game companies like censor for Australia. Like, why would you do that? Like, they got less population than a lot of U.S. states. Why are you taking them so seriously? He suggested the government work to make ADF an attractive career to explore once more, and said that saying he had noticed a lack of national identity and since people don't want to serve or don't have to do the work involved or have to do the work involved within the defense force. Yeah. Again, why could this be? On one hand, like, you vilify one side, they have no interest in helping you. You convince the other side that you are the force that keeps oppressing them. They have no interest in helping you. I think the real thing we have to be careful about is where is that sentiment for Australia? I've written that I think there's too many identities and I think there are too many flags. And whose fault is that? You think the Australian government may have played a role in worshiping other flags? Let's just say. Every June, the Australian government is just coated with fucking pride flags. Yeah, I think it's obvious to everyone watching that you worship the pride flag more than the Australian flag, and then you wonder why your population might be following your lead on that. That's kind of funny. Now, he claims Australians are preoccupied with supporting other nations and groups opposed to their own country. Well, I guess I know. I think he's primarily referring to like white men here or right-wingers. When your own country views you as the enemy, when your own country vilifies you and blames you for all the problems in the world, and the only way you can make good on all of this is to pretty much suck the dick and bend the knee and be a slave, and then you got other countries that are treating you way better, what sort of an idiot wouldn't shift their loyalty to the other countries at this point? So no, I don't mean the flags of Australia and from the three flags we identify with. Of course, for 37 years, I wore one flag on my shoulder. But if you go to Spring Street in Melbourne and I guess somewhere in Sydney on a Friday afternoon, you'll see those protests and they're regularly scheduled and there'll be multiple flags of lots of other places. So I think we need to focus on the Australian identity and be really careful that we're proud of Australia. How could you be proud of a country that has been denigrating themselves and apologizing for all the harm they do in the world? Australia isn't proud of itself. How can you expect your people to be proud of you? Seriously. Like, maybe get a government that isn't a bunch of dickless cucks. Get a government that has some pride and maybe the people will follow suit. I get the sense that moment some people are embarrassed by Australia. I also get the sense people feeling a sense of entitlement. Now, the embarrassment is absolutely true. If I was an Australian, I'd be embarrassed too. We've heard JFK and what he said, but it's what you can do for your country, not what they can do for you. This is them basically admitting, yeah, we have nothing to offer you, but dude, he's talking about a sense of entitlement. You're demanding they do something for you for nothing, and yet they're the entitled ones. Okay. Yeah, it's like my favorite is people who call you selfish because you don't want to let them leech off of you. Like, oh, okay, so I'm the selfish one because I won't let you leech off of me for nothing. Yet you're not selfish at all for wanting to leech off of me for nothing. Okay. All right, that checks out. New ads were released by the Defense Force last year, centering around how the military service was a career with impact. But Professor Leahy said he was not seeing enough messaging in the recruitment drive about the pride and tradition that comes with representing Straya. And let me guess, most of those ads now suddenly featured primarily white men again. No more Emma and her two moms ads when things get serious. Funny how that works. So you treat us like shit and then expect us to come save your ass. Nah, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. He also called on the governments to take the findings from the Royal Commission into the Defense and Veteran Suicide and implement the changes required to make represent the ADF a more desirable career. Oh, that's another thing I didn't even touch on yet. When these potential future recruits see how veterans are treated, that doesn't exactly make them want to enlist. Because what they see is, oh yeah, I'm gonna ruin my mind and body fighting for this country. And once it's their turn to take care of me, they're just gonna kick me to the curb. They're just gonna throw me under the bus. I'm now an inconvenient statistic for them that they're gonna try to get rid of and hide. Yeah, no, I'm not fighting for that. The full ADF, the full Army, Navy, and Air Force is where people can make a difference, or people can contribute. Where there have been problems, they have to be rooted out. How about you root out the problems first, and then demonstrate to people that they are rooted out, and then we can talk? We have to be able to say there's no place for unacceptable behavior that would drive people to suicide. I know the Army I left 15 years ago. It's a good place to be. Oh, okay. So this is why this guy's been saying so much stupid shit. He left the military before all the woke nonsense took over. Maybe it was good back then, but that's not the state it's in now. All right, so there's also a place that that knows it has to move to the high standards of the ethos of the service, but also stands for Straya, or the standards of Straya. I like to think that people would say, "I know that they've done their job. They're rooting that stuff out at the moment, and that's a good place to join." You're going to have to actually demonstrate that. You're going to have to actually prove that, though, because we're used to being bait and switched by this point. Like, look at the DEI crap. All of these companies and organizations that claim to be dropping DEI, the vast majority of them are just reshuffling people to different departments. They're renaming things. Oh, it's not DEI anymore. It's our Center for Equitable Treatment or whatever. They're keeping the same people. They're renaming some departments, but the end result's the same. So, like, we're used to these guys being duplicitous. We're used to them trying to lie and trick and bait and switch us. So, no, you're going to have to actually prove that you fixed the problems before anyone is willing to give you another chance. Yeah, HR is entrenched. Yeah, how about you fire HR first? Now, you realize you don't need HR, right? Companies function just fine without it. Yeah, they're starting to call it things like cultural understanding. Uh-huh. So they will proclaim that they got rid of DEI just like Orange Man demanded. But conveniently, they have a newly opened cultural understanding department. And yeah, I did see that about his orders. Yeah, that they were written to take out the rename loophole. That doesn't mean they're not going to try. Some of them are going to be able to stay under the radar. But those that get discovered, yeah, they're not going to be able to get around that. But I guess what they're hoping is people are just going to take their word for it when they say that they got rid of DEI and not look into it any further.